Hello everybody, we are in the studio again, here to talk to Regina Parra. Thank you everybody. We're waiting for Regina to join, give me 1 second. Hello everybody, hope you're having a good afternoon. Today is Friday. Hola! Hello! How are you, Regina?
Good, and you?
I'm good, thank you for coming and thank you for being with us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I don't know if you wanna. So Regina is an artist from Brazil. You've been living in New York for at least 6 months, right? Or almost a year already?
6 months.
6 months. I'm happy to have you. It's a difficult moment for New York. I mean, for the world, but especially for New York. But I think we're going off the curb finally. Yeah. So you are in Brooklyn, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, my studio is in Bushwick. I'm here right now.
Okay. Yes, she is very lucky. For those of you who don't know about it, and especially those of you in South America, where in certain countries the laws are more strict, you can walk in New York. You are allowed to, and her studio is in walking distance from her place, so it's safe for her to go back and forth in between there and her house. So we're very happy to have you. I mean, an important disclaimer, which is that maybe some of you knew about this. We were going to do a performance with Regina and with Anna Mastey. We're going to do an edition of their piece Ophelia, which we will be talking about later on, at the American Society in mid-March, which unfortunately got delayed because of this pandemic. It was like one of the first things that we had to cancel, and it was quite sad. But we are hoping we can do it when we can reopen and when we can do events in a safe way. We trust the event is going to be as powerful then as now. But anyway, I don't know if you want to share with us any specific work. I know that you already shared some of them in our Instagram post.
Yeah, sure. I can talk about the works that we were showing there, or we can start with Ophelia. Is there any specific work you want to talk about?
Let's start with Ophelia. Why not? We just mentioned it. So
let me get Ophelia here, and then I'll switch to the computer so they can see it. Just 1 second.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. So Ophelia is a project that started a couple of years ago. It's a work that I did with Anna Mazei, who is also an artist, and we created the work together. And it's a performance, and the idea of the Ophelia started when we were researching the Hamlet play, and we realized that Ophelia is this character that we really love because it's probably like the most famous female character of all the time. However, when we read the play and we did an exercise that was pretty interesting, we took all the lines from Ophelia and created a file with just her lines, as if we were just as if we were actress researching a character. And when you read just Ophelia's lines without the whole context, you realize how Ophelia is very submissive, but you understand the whole character, how he's built. So I'll switch here so I can talk to you, and then I'll put the image so it was a bit.
Sure.
1 second. So we start thinking how we are somehow influenced by Ophelia character because it's a kind of a model or kind of a role. And when there's a critic, literary critic called Harold Bloom, and he describes Ophelia as lovely. And lovely is always something that we were thinking it's not great. I don't want to be lovely. It's something that it's usually for women. So she's lovely, and Ophelia is lovely. She's sweet. And during the whole play, when we read her lines, we understand that she's always waiting for somebody, some man, to tell her what to do. So she's always waiting for Hamlet, for her brother or her father to tell her what to do. But she remains lovely despite everything.
Yeah.
And maybe because she is making a huge effort to remain lovely despite everything, she turns out getting crazy and killing herself. And she kills herself singing, which is also very lovely, but in a terrible way, like in a woman that kills herself singing because she remains sweet until the end of her life. So we were thinking about this Ophelia and everything that comes together with this this research, and we decided to make this performance. It's a performance with 9 women, and the idea is that it's a kind of manifestation. So we thought about manifestation. That's why now I'll switch here. That's why they are carrying those signs. Each sign has one of Ophelia's lines. So we had to choose, and we chose 9 different lines, and they carry those signs. And what happened is that Ana Mazei, who worked with me in this project, she works with sculpture, especially wooden sculpture. So she created this structure here. So they are kind of sculptures, but they are also signs, and they carry those signs around the exhibition. Let's see if I have more pictures. Yes. And here I have some more. And the idea is that we always create the path according to the show, to the exhibition, and try to understand the works that are exhibited. So they are in this kind of manifestation, but they make very restrict movements. So as if there was something restraining them, but it's something invisible. So we usually try to, like this one over here, I don't know if you can see here. She was just walking around the room. Then there was another girl here that was just like kind of blocking the entrance to the room. And sometimes you have, I don't know if I have more pictures here. They don't usually connect with each other. Like you have this one just making this movement, and this other one coming here, and they can be in the middle of the way. So for the public, it's also interesting because they have to, I don't know, they are definitely affected by the presence of these women. So, and then it lasts for 15 minutes, and then they go away. I can show you, because we were going to show the performance. I have some of the pieces here, but I don't have the signs yet. They are not mounted, but we were making the signs in English to present at American Society. And the idea is that, like, for example, this would come here. Oops, I don't know if there is enough room to see. And then those are the signs that can be carried by the girls, like this. And then they stay in place like sculptures. Oops. So this is Ophelia.
Well, I think it's a fantastic piece. Something I really loved about the project the moment that you presented it to us, when I heard about it. I mean, I actually saw it at MASP, so this piece has been acquired by the MASP Museum, Museum of Modern Art in Sao Paulo. So I saw it exhibit, and then when I was there last year, and then you and I talked, and we talked about the possibility to do it again at American Society. I mean, this is an itinerant performance, which, actually started in Milano, right? That was the first time it was done. So in Milano, commissioned by Jacopo Cripelli for which space, sorry? For which institution was it done originally?
It was for PAC, Parque Lage de Arte Contemporanea in Milan.
So, and after that, it took place at MASP and Historias Feministas, like it's a show about the history of women artists, right? A fantastic show at MASP. So, but it happened in different places, and in each place you had it with the language, you know, the sentences, they did them with the language of where this was happening. And something fantastic, I mean, I think that the piece is, I mean, it's super powerful because, as you said, Ophelia is without doubt one of the paradigms, one of the archetypes, if you want to be Jungian about it, of what females are supposed to do. I remember choosing the nickname Ophelia for my MSN, I'm very old, MSN chat user, like back in the day when you would chat on MSN. And I remember going through, you know, growing up and feeling, oh, this is not cool. I mean, like choosing Ophelia, and
Ophelia,
I'm not sure, like, but I think it took me until my 20 something to be like, hey, that was not the best like handle to choose for my chat. So it's really tricky. I think it's very interesting. And I think I mean, at least for Western women, it's very important, this idea of deconstructing Ophelia, but not only deconstructing her in terms of being like, hey, it's not cool to identify with Ophelia, but it's not cool to think about Ophelia the same way that we all do,
yeah,
the same way she was constructed. Um, and I have a question for you. Do you think that to a certain degree Ophelia had that critical potential inside her? I don't want to say that Shakespeare gave her that potential because I think that authors also do a lot of things without realizing they're doing it. But I wonder to which degree this like possibility of questioning that you guys are doing was on the character and on the lines themselves. You know what I mean?
you're asking if you think that the play has something ready to criticize.
I wonder, I don't know, if you think that the play does. I don't know. Or not, maybe not.
No, I think so. I think, and I think that's why it's such a fascinating character because we love Ophelia. That's like we would never do this work if we didn't love Ophelia. We love Ophelia. The thing is that when we start studying Ophelia, we understand that we love her, but we would love to see see her acting a little bit more. But I'm not sure if it's Shakespeare's fault or look at me, I'm not like blaming Shakespeare.
Why not? I mean, why not? I mean, we have the right to criticize. I mean,
it's Shakespeare's fault. I think it's more about like the role of women back then. And one of the things that me and Anna were still trying to think is that even today we're still kind of acting like Ophelia. So it's just understanding like the how what are our roles in society, and maybe they didn't change. So I don't think it's about the play or how it was written, but it's more about how women are allowed to be themselves or to invent themselves in society, and how this can change during time, but it's not really changing that much, or it's not changing as we wish it was changing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And something important also to tell our audiences is that the performance of Ophelia, the way you've been thinking about it, after the MASP acquired it, and you were thinking about how can a museum collect a performance and something that you arranged with them, which you were planning to replicate in the loan that was going to be done to American Society, that will be done one day to American Society. I mean, it's actually, the piece is going to be like a loan from the museum. I mean, it's going to be a loan actually. And what you are saying, what you propose, you and Anna, is for the piece to be performed by female employees of the institutions where it's being shown, which I thought was fantastic. And Diana and I, when we reached the staff at the American Society, which is a staff that doesn't necessarily always works with us, with art, you know, we are not an institution that only deals with art. There are people with many different interests. And we were a little bit, you know, worried, and people loved it. People, I mean, like, not, let's not say people, women loved it, loved the idea of carrying the signs and, you know, trying to defend the honor in a way of Ophelia and to make a feminist statement about to rethink that. So, I mean, that's just another layer of what a powerful and successful piece it is that it engaged, you know, non-professional performers so quickly and so easily.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's was actually the idea of MASP. So when they acquired the piece, they came with this suggestion, and we of course love it. So they think that the performance, because it's a performance that it's almost invisible. The idea is that it's over there in the space, and from time to time it can be activated. So they suggested that stuff could just pick up the signs and activate the piece. And for us, it's just incredible because, for instance, the outfit of the performance is just like a white shirt and jeans, because we want Ophelia to be everybody. We don't want like to be special performers. We want to be like any woman that can carry the signs. And if more people can relate to the signs or to the lines, it's just what we wanted. So it's great.
That's great. That's great. That is fantastic, Regina. Thank you for sharing that with us. So let's talk about other work. Any other work you want to share with us?
Yeah.
So something amazing, which Diana just like highlight, is that you are at the studio, and I mean, we already comment that, but I do want to say, sorry, I have a very nice comment by Anna Masei, who is on chat, and Anna is saying they also become the protagonists, which I think is amazing. Yeah, that's super important. Thank you, Anna, and thank you for joining us. And we really hope that we can do the performance soon. And so, but no, I just wanted to comment that, I mean, we already mentioned the fact that you're in your studio, but how great it is to see some art in real life, you know, an artist in the studio for real. It is amazing to be able to have some pieces on the back, and we miss that. We miss seeing art.
Oh, you mean coming to the studio? Yeah, I imagine.
We can see it after. Anyway, yeah, sorry, you were gonna comment. If you wanna keep talking about your practice and you wanna share another project with us.
Yeah, sure. I can share more projects, and I can walk around. I don't have anything super ready yet. I'm in a very slow mode.
You can show us other stuff. That's okay.
But
it's nice to see you painting on the back.
So there is another work that connects with the Ophelia performance. It's actually a series of paintings that it's not called Ophelia. Let me get here. Okay, that's it. Here, this one is a series of 6 paintings. They are all oil on paper. I can show you here in the studio. It'll be easier to understand the technique and everything. So this is a series of paintings. They are also inspired by Ophelia. You see, we definitely love Ophelia. I really became obsessed by her. And the idea of this work was basically, after reading a lot of her lines and trying to understand this character, I tried to imagine a series of movements and gestures that could be that could belong to a contemporary Ophelia, and somehow could come through my body. So it's a kind of trying to imagine what gestures would Ophelia make, and then I came up with those movements, and I made those paintings. And in the end, you have this is also a painting, and it's one of Ophelia's lines. It's I truly fear it. So it's another work that relates to Ophelia, and they are all oil on paper. And I have, then I'll go back. Oh, I'll go to another, since Anna is over there, I hope so, she's still over there. I'll go to another performance that we did together. That's this one. So this performance is called Bacai or Bacante. I don't know how to say it in English. Is it Bacai or Bacante? I'm not sure. It's based on another theater play. So I used to work with theater. Before I started working as a visual artist, and Anna also loves theater. So whenever we are together, we come up with theater ideas that are not really theater. They usually turn out to be performance. So this one is called Bacchante. You have, I don't know if you can see, but you have this continues. You have, again, 9 women also wearing the same outfit, like the jeans and the white shirt. And the performances start with the women laying on the ground like this with her hands here, and they wear a kind of a leather belt that is attached to this wooden piece, also created by Anna. And then when the performances start, they make this movement. There is very simple a hip movement of the hips, and when it comes down, this wooden piece will hit the other wooden piece, and then you make a sound that is quite strong. And when you have like the 9 women all together making this sound, you have a very powerful, a kind of aggressive moment that happens there. And so, and here everything was around the idea of the Bacchante, which is like a more sexual or more liberated woman, but at the same time we were trying to imagine the Bacchante nowadays, and that's completely impossible. So it's about trying to be as free or as liberated, but at the same time understanding that we have a bunch of restraints that will keep us tight or will keep us in our own place. So it's always, I think about this struggle between what we would like to do or would like to be, and at the same time what is keeping us somehow restrained. So this is work.
And can I ask you a little bit? I mean, this piece is also amazing because, I mean, that movement, I mean, for any of us that did yoga, you know, that movement is not as easy as it looks like.
Yeah.
And it is such limited. And to make, I mean, also, if you do any kind of gym or yoga, you know, that to make a very limited determined movement is actually really hard. I mean, especially if you do like Pilates, and this in a way is similar because it's like this, you know, external device that is limiting your movement. You want to talk a little bit about your interest in movement and choreography and where it comes from?
Yeah, sure. So let me turn here, then I come back to more work. So I don't know if I think somehow I was always, I don't know if because of this theater background, I was kind of, I always have the body or the movement in my work, but in different ways. So if I go really back then, like when I started to work as an artist, I used to work with, I mean, like one of my first research was around the CCTV images. And then I was interested in this idea of how our body is controlled, or how our body is always trying to be domesticated by invisible forces. So how the CCTV and all these vigilance systems somehow are controlling our body. So I think I was back then more interested in the body in a broader way. And then more recently, I started to think about this, how our body is affected all time by all kinds of struggles. So I had a health issue that took me like 5 years to get better, and it was a body issue. So I couldn't help to start working with like more related to body. And during my illness, one of the things that really helped me was studying choreography and becoming closer to dancers and performers. And then I started a collaboration with Bruno Levorin. I can show you the work we made by them. And when we started rehearsing, I was still sick, so I couldn't participate in the rehearsal, but I was part of the process. And I think it was very important for me because I could understand how how our body is always adapting and responding to all kinds of situations. And I think I became more aware of my own body and how I am in the world. And then I think that right now I just can't think about a work that is disconnected from the body. So when I will show you the work with Bruno. Where is it? In here. Okay, so this is a work called Lascivious. I don't know exactly how to say that in English, but it's a work that was created with Bruno Levorin, and you have two dancers, those two, Clarissa Sakeli, Maite Lacerda. We were rehearsing for 1 year, and the starting point of this project was those images. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those images. They are the images of Dr. Charcot, who was studying hysteria, and we were looking to those images. They are images from the 19th century in France. So all those women, they were diagnosed as hysterical women, and that's something that we don't agree. That's again just like Ophelia. That's something that we don't agree. And those images, they are pretty aggressive for me. But we wanted to understand how we could use those images as a starting point to make to try to find something that those images were not showing, because for us those images were created by men, by doctor, so there's a clear relationship, power relationship there. And we cannot see anything about those women. So they have no subjectivity at all. They have no desire. They are basically acting for the camera. So what we did is that we used as a starting point mainly the hand and the arms gestures. So as you see here, then we would come up with it in some part of the choreography. Here are some more images. This is this is actually a series of works. We have 2 or 3 performances and 2 videos. So we are still developing this work, and we try to create a work that would start with these images, but we'll try to show the opposite. We'll try to show the desire and everything that was hidden over there. So we have this, and then I have some images. I can try to show the video. Then we made a video, and the video we can see, of course, the movement, because here we're just seeing some frames of the performance. And this is when we presented in one exhibition. Here it is. And that's a frame of the video. So that's a work that was made with Bruno and with the 2 dancers, and it was mainly about the body and the body movement, because I think the performance is about the body, but not as much as here. Then they were also Bruno also helped me in this other performance that we were also showing in the Instagram. This is, I have another picture. Oops, moved on here. So this is a performance that we presented at Instituto Tomie Ohtake last year. It was, I tried to, I'm trying to get a little bigger view so you can see, because for me it was important to relate the performance with the paintings that were on view. So this is something that I also, it was pretty important for me when I first did the performance with the paintings. I understood that the paintings were much stronger when they were seen with the performance. So whenever I can, I try to do it together. So here you have like the girls, they have, oops, let me see if I have a closer image. They are kind of attached to the wall by a cord, a rubber cord, and they are facing the wall, and they were saying lines. This whole exhibition was inspired by a Beckett play called Happy Days. So they were saying some of the lines of the female character of the play. So one of the girls was just saying another heavenly day, and the other girl was saying another line. So they were like talking to each other, but basically facing the wall, and you had the paintings in the middle.
That's really amazing.
I'll show the paintings. Anna's over there. She's saying, show more of your paintings. So these were the paintings that were there. Not exactly like this in this display. And again, here's the same. The process is similar to the Ophelia. I read the text, I read the play, and then I try to imagine a series of movements and gestures for this character.
Yes. And why do you choose to do them in paint and not photo?
I'm sorry?
I mean, they're choosing the technique of painting, you know, like you're making these paintings that are super naturalistic, almost like photographic. So I'm just wondering, you know, if at a certain point you thought about like passing to photo.
Oh, because there are some difference. There are some like
Okay.
details that like here I'm showing like through the phone on the computer. But when you see in person, I feel that when
No, I know.
I
know that. Yeah, I know there is a difference, but I mean, like, is there any like, I mean, is there a personal choice? I mean, for you, it's important the practice of painting these paintings, you know, like.
Oh, you mean by the process? Yes, there is something that is pretty interesting. Yes, during this whole process is that in order to create the images, I usually make a kind of performance with myself by myself because I turn on the camera or I try to take the pictures and I'm just trying to create those movements while I'm taking the photographs. So it's a kind of a performance. So it's fast. But then I go to the painting, which is very slow. Like my paintings are very slow, so it's a different timing. And for me, it's interesting also like this process that it comes from a performance that could be fast, and then it ends up being a painting that it's so slow and it's made in a different way than a photograph. And then in the painting, I can add some stuff that were not there before. I can show you here maybe. Let me see if we're still in the phone, but I have some here. I don't have like a great light here. Not enough.
No, that's great. It's great to see it.
Maybe, yeah, and then you can maybe understand a little bit more. Have another one there. And you have two big ones here. This one has a little subtitle. I don't know if you can read. It's like a rocha gelada. It's like the cold stone or something like that. And it is big. I don't have enough room here to.
No, don't worry, please. That's great. Yeah, you can see it actually. Yeah.
And then this one is a vertigem. So they are kind of, it's the cold stone and the vertigem, and they are kind of together. This is the other one. So
So that's great.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there? I think this is great. It's great also. I mean, but I think it's very interesting, you know, the fact that you involve performance and painting. You know, you make the most laborious possible process, you know, in order for you to create these paintings and these performances. I don't know if you want to share any other one with us, any other project.
Yeah, I can. You want to see some works that I did or new projects?
It would be great to see some new projects also. We love those. But
I
if you feel comfortable sharing them.
I have, wait, it's kind of, wait, I just, it's not like, let's see if you can see here maybe. So is it enough light here? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I can
Better.
see.
So this is a project that I'm really excited to do, but it's just the starting point, but I think it's nice to share. So this would be like, these are, this is a draft for a neon installation on the landscape. I'll go to Watermill residency in October, and I'm planning to install this there because they have a beautiful garden, a beautiful landscape, and here you can see. And the idea is that you have like one piece that will be closer and another one over there, and here they're related to the painting as well. So here you have a rocha gelada, the cold stone. Is that so maybe?
Yeah.
O abismo, and you have o desejo, a vertigem e o encanto. Então, so it's this is a kind of, I don't know, I think they go together and they can create a kind of a scenery inside this scenery that is the landscape. And I also like the idea of having a neon piece in the middle of the landscape because they are not supposed to be together, but they can work together somehow. So this is,
I think it looks spectacular. And so just to explain anybody watching that might not know so much about your work, I mean, Regina has worked before with neon pieces in the past. And you want to tell the audience a little bit about where you take these sentences from and what these sentences, these definitions mean to you?
yeah, sure. You mean about the old words?
In general, like for example, this one, like a rosa gelada, like the cold stone, is a sentence that you're using both in your painting, but also here. I mean, and where do you usually like take these sentences from, and what do they mean?
Yes, so they usually, it depends on the word. Some words, the sentence come from authors, and some another one comes out of nowhere. This one actually came from a dream. I can try to.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it was a kind of a crazy dream. I'll try to wait. I'll try to show here what was my dream. So I had this dream, and you had like this. Wait, I'll make a very fast thing here just to. Okay, so that was my dream. I was here. It was a kind of nightmare, but it was not that terrible. And you had like, this was the cold stone, like you had the rocha gelada here. So it was like a iceberg or something very cold here.
Wow.
And here like a terrible like cliff, abismo, like, and here there was like a waterfall. So here was this magical place. And
wow.
I was here, I didn't want to jump, but it was very cold and I want to be there. So
wow.
I usually don't get ideas from dreams. I always want to get ideas from dreams, but this was the only dream that was very important for me. And I had this dream after reading a book that I love that is called Never Let Me Go. It's a Japanese writer. It's beautiful. So somehow I think it also relates to the book. But I woke up with this image in my head. It's a terrible drawing. I'm sorry about that. But and then I tried to translate this image into words. And then for me, it would be like the rocha gelada, o abismo, a vertigem, because I think I don't know how the vertigos, the vertigem, because the vertigem is this thing that you feel that you kind of want to jump. But it's
absolutely
like you want to jump, so you want to go down, but then you have desire, then you have o encanto, which is something that I wish we can achieve like a paradise. At some point.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing. It's amazing, and it's very interesting that you always seem to recur to like. I mean actually you work a lot with ideas of movements, but also like with definitions, with words, and it's fun because both in Ophelia, like in this dream that you just described, and in this use of like what these words meant, these are all like words that limit movement. And these sentences in Ophelia, in a way that you're extracting they're like limiting Ophelia's capacity to do something different, you know, of movement. That's also a type of movement. And in your dream, you're also like limited, and you put those limiting concepts into words, and then the attempts to escape into like exploration of movements, and in a way that's also present. I mean, I think there's something very like a line there in your work that is very interesting. The same way with the choreography of the Charlotte pieces, right? It's a codification of movements that is, you know, marked. Anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Great. Let me see. Maybe somebody has any other questions. Let me see. People are loving it. Yeah. Ana Carmel is asking if you can talk a little bit about your residency in New York, and if you feel there's any influence in your work of your stay in New York.
Yeah, I think so. I think what is really nice about residency is that you can't really plan, like you can really plan the kind of influence that is going to happen in your work. Like you can plan, and at a certain point, I think you can't identify. Like for me, it's not so clear, and I don't believe I don't like short residencies, and I don't think that I can go to a place and create a work like, oh, I'm so inspired by New York, and my work is all New York.
Yeah.
But I think that when you're in a new place, living in a new city and a new culture, a new language, we were talking about art, so I'm always you have this gap between yourself and because it's not my language, so you have this gap between you and your city. So there is a gap that is kind of interesting for the creation, I think. And so I think I'm like this whole experience, because I've been coming and going from New York since 2018, and now I'm here for 6 months, as you said. But I think this whole experience is been affecting my work in a subtle way, but I can see like it's just like small things that they're coming together. So I'm having like I'm trying to make a bigger piece, trying to mix all the works or the works, like trying to mix the paintings, the neon installations, and the performance together. So it's good. I'm not sure I can identify like how this residency influenced me, but I'm sure like there's something going on. Like I feel that I'm changing because I'm here. So of course my work is changing as well. And I think we can dissociate when we are leaving from our work. We will always be there.
Absolutely. I think that's super powerful. Anyway, we have a few more minutes, but not a lot. We have to keep this before an hour, or Instagram is going to cut us. But I don't know if there's any more questions by the audience, if there's any other project, I mean, maybe from the past or something you're planning to do that you want to share with us. Don't feel forced, I mean.
You mean what, future projects?
Sure, yeah, whatever.
What am I sorry, what you were asking for? Other projects?
No. Yeah, if you have any other artworks like that you would like to talk about, that you would like to share.
Let me see.
No, I'm gonna check here also. And I must say soon we will have a nice. We're excited about those.
You say what? Soon we will have. Oh
yeah.
Anna, are you talking about our big project? We have a big project together.
I'm very curious, but you don't need to share it in public. I would love to hear it.
I'll just say one little thing. I'm not gonna say more because we still need to figure out. So I'll say a little bit about this project. Yeah, she's talking about this. Okay, so I'm not saying details, but we have a very special piece, like a theater play that is very special, and we are studying this together, and we want to create a kind of it's not going to be a play because we are not directors and we don't work with theater, but we want to create a huge project that will have Anna's sculpture, my work, and the performance, and some music too. So it'd be like, it's a secret project. I'm talking already. I think it would be a kind of a translation of the play, because so far we took like the character or one line, but I think we can kind of translate the play into this art thing. That's
really amazing. That's really exciting.
It's not developed yet. I will show you something that that was made that was easier to talk about. This is another project that we showed on Instagram, and I'm showing because it's also related to what I'm trying to do. But this was just a small project. But because I work with paper, so. I've always been curious to try to install the paintings in a way that a paper would be more paper and not trying to be a canvas. So, and I wanted the paintings to be on the space. So this I created for an exhibition last year, the Panorama de Arte Contemporanea at the MAN, the Museum of Modern Art in São Paulo. And the idea of this display, it's a wooden display, is that you don't have a unique point of view, and the public can basically come inside, and it's a kind of, they can come inside and do their own path and choose what painting to see. So it's something that is really interesting me now is creating this installation with the paintings. So I will also make the body of the viewer will also be affected by the paintings. He won't be like standing watching the paintings. He will have to move, and his movement will be affected by the paintings. So some of the works were kind of by the other one. And you also have the paper, which is pretty fragile, and I like to show this fragility of the paper when they are hanging like that. So that's something that I've been trying to do, and it creates this kind of scenario that's something that's been interesting me too, like trying to create a conversation with the architecture of the space and the public.
It's amazing, and I think it's amazing how you're taking this. I mean, just to something again. I mean, there's a coherence, if you like, in the project that you do and in the ones that you do with Anna also, in which you're like putting into dialogue something so like curvy and like fluid and messy as the body and movement. And the movements that you choose specifically, they're so like, like there are movements that have to do with like putting into tension, like body parts, right? So it's like tense, like not natural or elegant, like even the images that you choose from Charlotte where the hands are like this, there's something like forcing in the geometry of those bodies, and you put that in dialogue with this very rigid but very orderly and geometric forms in the structures. And I think that's and at the same time with like these sentences that are also very like taken out of context and limited. So there's something in all these pieces that you show us about this tension in between these like natural energy and these systems of codifications like mathematics, geometry, and grammatics and language, right? So I think that's super rich and that's super interesting, and it's in a way talking about things like all sort of like very universal topics, right? Like and that's why they can be so naturally in dialogue with such a universal and canonical piece like Hamlet, right? I mean, there must be hundreds and hundreds of like creative readings around Hamlet, and yours is still super original because you two were able to take away something super obvious but not so by using this like new technique and this new tool of like reconfiguring the structure of something and taking taking the segmenting, taking out of context, and at the same time reorganizing. So I think that's fantastic. I don't know, just wanted to praise it a little bit and comment.
I think that's great. That's a good view about the work, and I think that's pretty much what I've been trying to do. It's finding, I don't know, this place where I think it maybe for me it's a place of the art. Like we need to find our frestas. I have no idea how to say frestas in English. You know this word?
Frestas.
You know, that's this tiny place between, like, here's a fresta, just this tiny place. I think that's where we can, you know, and that for me, that's where the rupture, or that's where we can just put our ideas, and one day the whole wall will come down, but we are just trying to go through these little places, and I guess so.
But anyway, crack.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, of course. Anyway, I want to thank you, and I want to thank everybody. And thank you, Anna, also for participating through chat. And thank you, Regina. And we really hope that we can see more of your paintings live soon in person. And thank you again. And we'll be in touch. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.